In this video we are going to be learning how to create ourselves a Christmas card. It's a Starry Night Sky Christmas card. So basically you've got a moon, a random amount of stars just scattered around the page, and a little message that says Season's Greetings at the bottom. Alrighty, so to get started on creating this, you will need to open up the Python IDLE, the idle, and make yourself a brand new document. Now from here we're going to start by coding up the circle and the stars that we are going to include in our final design. As you can see, we've got all the different stars scattered around the page, and the moon is simply a white circle with a blue circle overlapping it. Alright, so let's have a go at making them now. First line of code is simply import turtle. So we're going to import the turtle module from Python. That's pre-written code by somebody else, so that will definitely cut down on the amount of code we have to write. And we're going to make a function that draws circles first of all. So let's write def, which stands for define, and we're going to give our function a name. So we'll call it draw circle. As always, you can rename that to whatever you would like, but it's best to have something meaningful, so I'm going to leave it as draw circle. After that, you need to open up some brackets and simply write what's in the yellow tooltip that appears on your page. So it'll be turtle, color, x, y, radius. They're simply some values that we're going to pass in later on to create our circle to a certain size with a certain color. After you've written that and closed your brackets, put a colon at the end of that line, and that basically says we've now opened up our function. And when we go to the next line, you'll see our mouse cursor is indented. And the code that we write from now on will be inside the function, and that's what's going to draw our circle for us. So the first thing we're going to do is write turtle.penUp, bracket. What that's telling us is it's accessing the turtle module that we imported a little bit earlier. And from that turtle module, remember it's pre-written code by somebody else, we're going to access the penUp function. And the penUp function simply says lift the pen up off the page, so it's not drawing as you move it around. Alright, once you've written that, I'm going to go back to turtle dot and copy that, because we're going to use that code quite a few times here. So on the next line we're going to paste it in, and the next thing we're going to write after that is color, spelled the American way. So turtle dot color, and then in brackets we're going to put in the word color again. What that's going to do is basically change the color of the border of our shape, in this case a circle. Alright, and that particular color, we haven't told the computer what that's going to be yet, but a bit later on we're actually going to give that color a value, such as red or white or yellow, whatever, and it will change the border color of our circle to that particular color. On the next line we're going to go to turtle.fill color, again spelled the American way there, and we just write color in brackets again. Okay, so our fill color is just what we're going to color the fill or the inside of our circle. After that, we've got our colors sorted, so we're going to move to the position or the coordinates on the page where we want to draw our circle. So we just write turtle.goto, and in brackets we write x, y. Now x, y are the x and y coordinates that we will pass in later on. That will tell us exactly where we place our circle on the page. Now once we've got the colors and the position all sorted, we can put our pen back down onto the page. So we'll just write turtle.pen down, bracket, and then we'll write turtle.begin_fill. So we're going to start coloring in our circle now. Don't forget the two brackets at the end there. The other thing we need to do once we start coloring in, we need to know how much to color in, so how big our circle is going to be. So turtle.circle, and then in brackets we're going to put in a variable called radius. And again, later on, we're going to actually put a value in here. So instead of radius, that'll be filled with a value such as 20 pixels or 50 pixels, whatever size you want to make your circle. And once you've finished drawing your circle, it's just turtle.end_fill. So it stops coloring it in, and the two brackets at the end. And that's all the code needed to draw your circle. Okay. Pressing enter a couple of times and backspacing back to the left-hand edge of the page. We're now going to make another function to draw a star. So let's define a function by writing def. We'll call this function draw_star. Okay, now I'm going to do a bit of copy and pasting here. I'm going to copy all of the black code from my draw circle function. So I'll just highlight it and press Control C to copy. Come back to the draw star function and simply paste it in. Now, most of this code is the same. We're just going to tweak a few little sections. So in this first line that says define draw star, we leave everything in the brackets the same except the word radius. Okay, our stars obviously don't have a radius, rather they have a size. So change the word radius to size. Now as we look into the function, we're going to start with our pen up off the page. So as we move it around, we're not actually drawing on the page. We'll pick a color for our star border and then the actual fill color. We'll go to a position to draw our star and we'll put our pen down on the page. We'll begin the fill, so we'll start filling our star in with a color. And then we're going to press enter a few times. Okay. Now after begin fill, what we're going to write in is turtle.right. We're actually going to turn our turtle to the right, and then in brackets 144, which says we're turning our turtle to the right 144 degrees. Now from here we are ready to draw the first angle, or first side of our star. Okay, once we've drawn one side, we know that there's still 4 more sides to draw on our 5-sided star. So what I'm going to do, just to save a bit of code, is I'm going to create a loop that repeats itself 5 times, so we get a 5-pointed star. So to make my loop, I'm going to use a for loop, so for I in range 5. Okay, that's my piece of code that's going to say, alright, repeat what comes next 5 times. And I'm going to write in turtle dot, I need to copy that again, so turtle dot forward, and then in brackets we're going to write size. So we're going to move our turtle forward however big we specify in our code later on. So we're going to move forward, say 50 pixels. Then when we get to that point, we're going to go turtle dot right, so we're going to turn to the right, and we're going to swing around 144 degrees again. From here we'll do turtle.forward and put in the size again. And that's created one side of our star. Alright, what that's going to do now when it gets to this point is it's going to loop back around to the start of the for loop and repeat these 3 lines of code all over again. And that will create another side to our star. And by the time it's gone through 5 times, okay, we'll have 5 points on our star. After that, we're going to jump out of that loop. So what we need to do is just bring back this code that we had before. Turtle.circleRadius. We don't need that anymore, obviously, because we're not drawing a circle. So just delete that line of code. But I want you to keep turtle.endfill. Okay, so you can probably move that back up a line. So you'll see turtle.endfill has been moved back to the left, so it's in line with all these other turtles up here and the start of the for loop. That just shows it's jumped out of the for loop. It's not a part of that loop, so we don't need to repeat this code 5 times. Okay, so we've ended the fill, so we're not filling in the star anymore. And the other thing we're going to do is turtle.setHeading to 0. What that means is we are setting the direction that the turtle is facing to 0 degrees. Okay, so it's heading in the direction 0 degrees. And that's all we need to draw a star. So what I'm going to do now is save this file by going to File and Save As. Now probably a good idea to make a new folder and just call it Starry Night, something along those lines. And I'm going to call this module Shapes and click Save. So that's the first part of our tutorial done. The second part is actually writing the code to make all this stuff appear on our page. Alright, so I'm going to make a new, well, I made a new file. And I'm going to import a few modules first of all. So I'm going to import turtle. Actually, yeah, from turtle, I'll import the star, which means everything in that module. From shapes, which is the module we just wrote, I'm going to import everything. So that's the shapes module right there. So it's going to import all this code so that we can use it. And the final thing is from random, import randint. So what that's saying is from the random module, so there's a module of code that somebody else has written up for us, we're going to import a function called randint, which stands for random integer. And basically we're going to scatter stars throughout our page at random locations. Okay, so that's what that particular function comes in handy for a little bit later. Okay, now into the real code that's going to get things moving. First thing, we're going to write speed and put 0 in brackets. That sets our drawing speed to 0, which is the quickest that your turtle will draw the shapes onto the page. Okay, you can slow it down by making it, say, 10 or something like that, but I don't have time to waste, so I'm going to set it to the fastest speed of 0. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to adjust the screen size and the background color. So let's set up a new window. So that variable window will be equal to turtle.screen bracket bracket. Remember, screen has a capital S. And now window.bg color, which stands for background color, is going to be set to hashtag 00008C. Close the quotation marks, close the bracket. Now that color is like a dark blue that you'd expect to see in a bloody night sky, I suppose. Rather than black, I've just gone the dark blue. If you wanted to, you could write the actual name of the color in there. I don't know what it is, so I just used a hexadecimal code to represent that color. Alright, so we've got our screen size and background color set up. So what we might do first of all is draw the moon onto the page. So I've just put a hashtag and written the word moon, which is just a comment. Comments appear in red, and that's just code. Oh, sorry, it's not code actually, it's just plain English that's skipped over by the computer when it's running the code. So it just ignores what's written with a hashtag next to it. So to draw the moon, as I said before, it's 2 circles. Okay, a white circle in the background and a blue circle over the top of it. So we need to write, we'll call up the function that we wrote before called draw circle. If you look back here, we're calling up this function. So instead of writing all of this code, all we need to write is this first line. Pretty simple. So draw circle, in brackets we write turtle, put a comma, choose the color of our circle, which is white, make sure they're in quotation marks. We set the x value, so the x coordinate to 120, the y coordinate to 80, and then the size or the radius of our circle to 50. Close your brackets. Now I'm going to copy that, and I'll paste it in again in a sec. I'll just save what I've got first of all though. So press Ctrl S to save. And you want to give it the name main. And make sure you save it in the same folder as your shapes file that you saved just a moment ago. Let's run it and have a look. We should have a blue background and a white circle in the sky, which is our moon. So far so good. So as I said before, to make this moon complete, we're going to draw a blue circle over the top of it. And that blue circle has to be the same color as our page background. So just change the color to that hashtag 00008C. Now the position of it's going to be slightly off from the other one, so it'll be 100, 80, and 50. So x value, or x coordinates 100, y coordinates 80, and then the size of it's the same size as the other circle at 50 pixel radius. If we save that by pressing Ctrl S and F5 to run it, we can see now we've got our moon looking pretty good. Alright, so time to draw some stars. To do the stars, let's put in a comment that says stars, and the number of stars that we're going to have on the page, let's make a random number for that. So what I'm going to do is create a variable called number of stars, and we're going to set that equal to randint. So we're going to choose a random integer. Remember, that's that function we called in earlier. And the minimum number of stars we'll have is 10. Maximum number of stars we'll have is 15. So the computer will choose a random number somewhere between 10 and 15, and it will display that many stars on the screen once we finish writing this code. Now obviously we were going to have quite a few stars on the screen, at least 10. So rather than writing all of this code at least 10 times, what we're going to do is just create a loop. Okay, so let's write for. If we write I in range, and we're going to start at 0 and go up to number of stars, and then close our brackets and press the colon. So we'll start at 0 stars, and then we're going to go up to however many stars the computer picks from here, between 10 and 15. Okay, so it might be 10 stars or whatever. Alright, so with the colon at the end, it shows that we've opened up a loop, and our cursor has been indented now, so the code coming in below here will be repeated between 10 and 15 times, depending on what random number the computer picks. So let's set up some coordinates. We want these stars to appear at different X and Y locations around the page. Okay, we're just going to get the computer to again pick a random number to put these stars in at. So let's write X and set the X coordinate to a random integer somewhere between minus 180 and 180 on the X axis. And then we're going to do Y equal to the same. So rand int. We might just tweak the numbers a bit here. We'll put minus 160 so they don't go too low on the page, and 180 up. Now the size of the stars, I'd like to make the size of these stars a little bit different as well from one another. So let's write a new variable called size and set that equal to a random integer as well. We'll have them ranging from size, say, 5 pixels to 20 pixels. Okay, and now we can call up this function here, the draw star function. We simply write that line of code to draw a star for us. So we write draw underscore star. In brackets we write turtle, comma, the color we want our stars, so I'm choosing white. I'm going to put a comma and put in the X coordinate. So remember the X coordinate is going to be a random number between minus 180 and 180. Our Y coordinate, which will be a random number between those two numbers, minus 160 and 180. And then the size of our stars is a random size between 5 and 20, so we'll just write size there. Okay, so these X, Y, and size values have been called up from here, here, and here. So the random numbers the computer generates. Alrighty, so that's all we need to draw our stars. So let's see if that works, I guess. Save that, run the module. Let's see if we've got a moon and some stars. There we go. A little bit of an issue with overlapping, so you can see these two stars somewhat overlap each other, and the moon got a couple of stars stuck behind it, so it does look a bit silly at times, but if we run that code again, you'll see that it'll completely change its look, and the stars will pop up in a completely different place. So sometimes you get it looking good. That one's not too bad. Okay, but other times it looks quite silly, so you might have to run the code a few times before it looks good. Last thing you want to do is just put a message at the bottom, just like a little Merry Christmas message. So I'll put in a comment that says message. I'm going to lift the pen up while we go down to the bottom of the page. We'll set the color of our pen to yellow. We're going to go to the coordinates minus 110, minus 200. We're going to write onto the page in brackets season's greetings. And if you want to adjust the font, just write font equals, and then in brackets pick whatever font you want there, what size you want it, and if you want anything fancy done to it, such as making it bold or in italics, whatever. Make sure you put 2 closing brackets at the end there. We've got to close off these brackets here and then the whole thing as well. So there's 2 lots of brackets we need to close off at the end. And finally, last but not least, we're going to hide the little arrow or the little turtle that draws our shapes for us. So just put hide turtle and open and close a bracket. That should do us. So we'll save it, run it, and let's see if we've got our little Christmas card done. So we've got our random stars popping up. That one looks pretty nice, and we've got season's greetings written at the bottom. Perfect, so that's how you can create a little starry night sky, which could be a Christmas card, using Python.